Hi guys, assalamualaikum and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Arina and I hope you all are doing well. In today's video, I'll be reviewing and comparing and also do a wear test on two sticks foundation from the drugstore. One is the Wet n Wild Photofocus Stick Foundation and the other one is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Foundation Stick. So I have both foundations on my face right now. If you're interested to know how they perform on me, just keep on watching. I have my skincare and sunscreen on my face, and now let's prime it. I'm gonna use Catrice Prime and Fine Aqua Fresh Hydro Primer, and this is a very moisturizing primer. I'll be putting this on both sides of the face so that they are equally primed. Okay, my skin is now ready, and on my right side I'm gonna use the Wet n Wild Photofocus Foundation and I have it in the shade Golden Honey, and on my left side I'm gonna use the Milani Conceal and Perfect Foundation Stick 225 Natural. They have almost the same shades. I'm gonna swatch it at the back of my hand so you have an idea of what the shade will look like. This is the Wet n Wild in the shade Golden Honey, and this is the Milani in the shade Natural. The Milani one is one shade lighter than the Wet n Wild foundation. Okay, let's jump into the application. I'm just gonna go in straight from the stick. I am just eyeball the amount that I want to put on my face. For the application, I'm also going to use the same brush shape, which is the Morphe Y6 and also Sigma Flat Kabuki F80. Okay, this is what this set looks like with one layer of the foundation. As you can see, my blemishes and imperfections still peeking through, and I'm going to add maybe a few more strokes. Okay, it has a medium coverage. Even though I build it, it doesn't look too cakey or too much layer on the skin, but I'm just going to leave it like this. I think I'm happy with the coverage and also how it looks on my skin, how it sits on my skin. We're gonna move on to the next foundation, which is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Foundation. For this side, I'm just gonna repeat the same process. Apply a few strokes on my skin and then blend it out using Sigma F80 Kabuki brush. Okay, this is how one layer of the Milani foundation looks on my skin. As you can see, my blemishes still peeking through. I'm gonna do the same thing, which is apply a few more strokes. Okay, this is what two layers looks on my skin, and I find that after I build the coverage, it kind of sits weirdly on my dry patches, especially on my blemishes. It grips onto it and kinda accentuate the dry patches. I think you can tell from the video, the Wet n Wild Photofocus Stick Foundation has more on the natural finish. It's not a matte finish. You can still see the glow when the light hits my face, whereas the Milani Conceal and Perfect has a matte finish and it still has some glow, but it's more matte. And I think because of the finish, it does stick onto certain area and doesn't want to blend well. The Wet n Wild foundation, I find it easy to maneuver the product. It has a nice emollient to it, not that it is super dewy. It follows the brush movement, whereas the Milani Conceal Perfect one, it's a bit more grippy. It grips to certain area and also it doesn't blend that as easily as the Wet n Wild foundation because of the matte finish. The texture feels a bit more thick than the Wet n Wild one. The Wet n Wild one has a more creamy texture, whereas the Milani one has more of a grip to it. Next up, I will apply concealer. I'm gonna use the Wet n Wild concealer in the shade medium beige for both sides. Okay, I also did apply concealer on the areas where I want to highlight, such as the center of my face. And now I'm going to set my face using the banana powder from Catricelight Illusion. I did a review on this powder. If you want to watch it, you can click up here. Setting the under eyes and also all over my face. And then next, bronzing the face. I'm going to use from the Powerfull Ellegance palette, this shade over here. I'm also going to contour my nose using the same bronzer from the palette. just to shape it slightly. For the blush, I'm going to apply the O2O Bounce Blush in the shade 05. And for highlighter, I'm going to use from the same palette, the Powerful Elegance palette. I'm going to just take this highlighter over here. And this is the finished makeup. This is the Wet n Wild side, and this is the Milani side. Okay, I zoom you guys in a little bit closer so you can see my skin texture, how the foundation sits on top of it. I have blemish skin, texture, acne scars, and everything like that, so you will see how it sits on top of it. Okay, this is how the foundation looks like with natural lighting. I don't have any of my LED lights switched on. Both looked equally beautiful. It sits very lovely on the skin, except for this one area here where the foundation doesn't sit well, like it leaves like some patch and doesn't mix well with the primer as well. By the way, this is not my first impression. I did use it with different primers and it also doesn't sit well with the primer, but on the other areas I don't have any issue or any patchiness or difficulties on other areas, except for this one area here where I have some blemishes over there. And on the Wet n Wild side, everything looks flawless, I should say. I am very happy with how the foundations are looking on my skin. I don't have any issue with the minimal imperfections with the Milani one. I can look past that because overall it looks beautiful on my skin. So right now I'm gonna go about my day, do some things and update you guys. I did a flashback test with this foundation. There's no flashback at all. Everything looks great with flash photography. All the other makeup products I laid on top of the foundation, blends beautifully, and also it sits well on top of the foundation. Everything works beautifully and mesh well with the foundation. I start off my makeup around 1 p.m. and now it's 3 p.m. I will try to wear it until 11 p.m. tonight and will update you guys how it wears. By the way, I have combination skin, oily on my T-zone, and I am dry on the outer areas. Okay, I've been wearing this for around 9 hours and now is 12:46 a.m. in the morning and I am ready to take off this makeup. As you can see, my face looks oily, especially on this side, because like I said, the Wet n Wild one has more of a natural finish. It's not a matte finish, it's a beautiful natural finish, whereas the Perfect and Conceal foundation holds my oil at bay quite long, and I've checked around the 8-hour mark and my face still looked decent and not as oily as this, but I think you can tell this one looks more oily than this. So far everything looks decent on my forehead and everywhere else looks decent except for my oily areas. And I would say if you have a drier skin type, I would suggest you to try the Wet n Wild Photofocus Stick Foundation, and if you have a more on the oilier skin type, you might want to try the Conceal and Perfect Foundation. But on me, it looks a bit patchy on some areas, especially on my blemishes where I have some dry patches. And that completes today's video. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I appreciate if you can subscribe because I do a lot of makeup tutorial reviews and hauls. And also if you want to follow me on my Instagram, the link is in the description box below. Take care and I hope I see you guys in my next one. Bye. Assalamualaikum.